The house had been quiet for weeks, but the tension in the air was as thick as ever. Every creak, every distant meow made Anna's heart race. She hadn't heard from Sarah since the night of the strange phone call, and none of the other tenants had returned. Their rooms remained locked, untouched, as if time had frozen around them. The strange feral black cat that had followed her home, its glowing eyes that seemed to pull her deeper into a dark, endless abyss. The disappearing neighbours, it all felt like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. And yet there were signs. Scratches on the walls that weren't there before. A low purring sound that sometimes echoed in the dead of night when she was sure she was alone. And the whispers, those terrible whispers. Anna could feel the sensation of eyes on her at all times, especially when she looked into the dark corners of her apartment. They'd follow her reflection, shifting and lurking in the mirrors, but whenever she turned around there was nothing there. One night, unable to sleep, Anna sat in her living room, staring at the streetlights outside, trying to quiet the storm in her mind. Her hands trembled as she clutched a half-empty cup of tea, the warm liquid doing nothing to calm her nerves. A soft thud echoed through the apartment. Anna jumped, her heart pounding against her chest. It came from the hallway. Slowly she set her cup down and stood, moving toward the sound with deliberate caution. Thud. She froze mid-step, her blood turning to ice. It was louder this time, as if something heavy had dropped onto the floor. Then she heard it, the unmistakable sound of claws scraping against wood, followed by a low, guttural growl. "Not again," she whispered, dread filling her stomach. She stepped forward, her legs heavy with fear. The hallway stretched before her, dimly lit by the small lamp she kept on near the door. She could hear the soft hum of the electrical wiring, the usual humdrum of the building settling, but this time it felt different. The air was suffocating, dense with an unnatural stillness. Her bedroom door was slightly ajar, and she could see the shadow of something moving inside. Slowly she pushed the door open, her breath hitching as she stepped into the room. There, perched on her dresser, was the cat. Its glossy black fur shimmered in the pale moonlight filtering through the curtains, and its eyes glowed with an unnatural intensity. The air was thick with the stench of iron, and her gut twisted when she noticed the trail of dark, wet footprints leading from the window to the dresser. The cat stared at her, unblinking. Anna's breath came in shallow gasps. She should have been used to this by now. The appearances, the disappearances, the way the cat seemed to know too much. But tonight, something was different. The cat seemed larger, its presence overwhelming, almost human. Suddenly the room felt too small, too confining. She took a step back, but the floor beneath her shifted with a soft creak as if it were alive. And then she heard it, the familiar voice, a voice she hadn't heard in weeks. Anna. Her blood froze. It was Sarah's voice, but warped, as though it were being dragged through thick, sticky tar. "Anna, help me!" Anna turned, her eyes wide with terror, and saw it in the reflection of the mirror on the wall. Standing behind her in the doorway was Sarah, or something that looked like her. The figure's face was twisted into an unnatural grin, its skin pale and stretched, its eyes sunken and hollow. The cat on the dresser hissed, but it didn't move. It simply watched. "Sarah." Anna's voice trembled, her mind racing to understand what was happening. The figure took a step forward, its movements slow, deliberate. It raised a hand, the fingers long and claw-like, its nails sharp as daggers. "You shouldn't have let it in," the figure whispered, its voice not quite Sarah's anymore, but something far more sinister, far older. What do you mean?" Anna's eyes darted from the figure to the cat and back again. The cat let out a low growl, the sound vibrating in Anna's chest. "You invited it," the figure continued, its grin widening, revealing rows of jagged teeth. Now it's part of you, part of us. Anna's mind spun. The nights of loneliness, the strange disappearances, the chilling sensation of being watched, it all came flooding back. The cat, the eyes, the darkness. I didn't... Anna choked, her voice breaking. You did. The figure stepped closer until its breath was hot against Anna's neck. And now it's hungry. Anna barely had time to scream before the cat pounced from the dresser, its claws sinking into her flesh, pulling her into the shadows of the room. The mirror shattered, sending shards of glass scattering across the floor, reflecting fragments of the chaos inside. And then silence. But if you listened closely, beneath the stillness of the night, you could hear the soft sound of purring. The cat was never satisfied.